I hope you are having a fabulous evening. I'm super excited to be here tonight. Um, Tonight we have Reverend Hesperus with us, and I have the bio here. You would think I would have this memorized, but I don't. Um, Let me find it. So, and no, my computer is being weird. Okay, you know what? Let's just go about it this way. Hey, how are you doing? So tonight we have Reverend Hesperus, who's a dear friend of mine that also works with Night Kind. They are a chaplain of the Night Kind. We're going to go ahead and bring them on up.
Good evening, Reverend Hesperus
Hi,
here.
how are you?
I am fantastic. It's been a beautiful day. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, let's go ahead and start with tell us a little bit, all of us, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, I am an ordained minister, and I feel called specifically to serve the spiritual needs of the night kind community,
Mm.
who are often alienated from traditional uh, avenues of religious services. Which is a real shame just because our uh, the aesthetic that appeals to us and the particular gods that resonate with us and the work that we feel called to do happens to make um, some folks uncomfortable. uh, it can hide all of the services that we are in need of to get that work done. I try to help folks access the resources that they need to not have to go through that process entirely alone or think that they're going crazy just because they are going through a process that uh, actually is quite familiar to a good number of us.
I think that that's amazing because you're meeting needs of those whom you're meeting needs of those whom maybe need support in those areas a little bit more. One of the things that I noticed in your bio had me wanting to ask a little bit of a few questions here. As a chaplain, how do you distinguish between guiding someone and empowering them to find their own truth?
I think that is one of the essential elements of night-kind spirituality, I would say, in my experience. Hi, welcome, Gwen.
Hey, can
I
you do me a favor? Oh, sorry. Can you speak up just a little bit or move a little bit closer to your phone? We're having trouble. We can hear Raven great, but yours is just a little bit off. Yeah, and I'm interested in everybody else's too, so we wanna hear you well.
Gotcha. Is this better?
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm back out.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, what was the question, Raven? I'm sorry.
So the question was, as a chaplain, how do you distinguish between guiding someone and empowering them to find their own truth?
Excellent question. I would say that in the night kind tradition, such as it is, I would also say that it's really a collection of a diverse set of traditions. But in my experience, the traditions that resonate with me and that I bring to the guidance that I offer naturally is geared towards empowering folks, teaching them to fish, so to speak. Um,
Mhm.
I will help you to see some of the blind spots in the work that you need to be doing. I will hold your hand while you do the shadow work. But yeah, that's work that can't really be outsourced. I can't write you a pretty enchantment or sell you a candle that will do the hard inner work for you. But I can be there for you while you do it. I can ritualize part of the process. Um, there are certain tools of the trade that I found facilitate making it through that process successfully. But the work
Mm-hmm.
remains yours to do, which makes the services that I offer notoriously unpopular, uh, but rewarding. When folks are genuinely open to forming that kind of relationship, um, it's truly magical what we do together.
Awesome. Let me see here. What role does ritual play in helping someone reclaiming their personal sovereignty to you?
Mm, great question. I would say it varies from person to person. I know for me, I can say that I grew up in a religious household that had very set rituals and doctrines that we weren't really allowed to question, um, even though it was very much in my nature to ask a lot of questions. uh, a big part of the process of um, reclaiming my own sense of spiritual autonomy was beginning to craft my own rituals. Uh, I knew what I needed the ritual to do for me. That I knew that all, these books full of old prayers to my parents' God weren't working for me. None of them fit the situation I was in. The answers I was getting from those prayers were not satisfactory. I felt called to compose something new. I opened myself up to what words felt right, wrote them down, and voila, suddenly I started getting some real results. And so, honoring that very early experience for me that uh, was one of the cornerstones of my practice thereafter, I tend to craft original rituals with each person, or at the very least, personalize rituals with them, so that it is genuinely a reflection of this precise experience with this person. For
Mm-hmm.
example, some folks feel liberated and fully reborn after a divorce. It's very common for us to have huge, elaborate rituals for the wedding, and that's perfectly appropriate. That's a beautiful compact between a small group of people in front of their spiritual peers. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just as much true when someone has had such personal growth that they see themselves and their partner clearly enough to assuredly say that they no longer want to be with this person. They have dreams that have drawn them in another direction. It's perfectly valid to want to recognize that and share that as an accomplishment. Um, I think having a place to put the significant emotional release, the catharsis that comes with a divorce sometimes can save us from feeling pressured to put it into acrimony. Maybe we don't have to hate our former partners, at least not forever or with the intensity, burn everything they ever gave you trope that we see in most films.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we had a ritual to burn off some of that excess energy for us, it would be a lot healthier, more efficient, and it would invite the support that we need, whatever that might be, from our peers. They'd already be right there at the ritual.
I really think that there are so many different people that need something like that, as far as like, being able to have that ritual of separation and being able to just kind of celebrate those transitions for themselves as well. And I know that there aren't too many people out there that celebrate those things, but to have something like that as an option is really neat. What would you say is the most profound what is the most profound transformation you witnessed through ritual work for yourself, or yeah, for yourself?
Hmm, great question. Yeah, I've had the honor of being present at some naming ceremonies, some initiations, ascensions within diverse religious and spiritual traditions. Oh,
Hmm.
gosh, I've seen so many truly miraculous and magical moments that it was really special to be present for. Um, but I think I would probably have to say I took care of my grandmother on my father's side in the final years of her life. Um, it was a great honor to be there and to get a chance to get to know her while she was still with us in this plane. And I was able to um, offer her support and a grounded, loving presence to sort of counterbalance the natural fear in some of her very final moments. Um, that was certainly profound for me, and it was for her as well. When when I first moved in to help take care of her, her prognosis was that she would maybe last another couple of weeks. But I took care of her for 2 years before she passed away. She just had uh, too much family gossip to share. She refused to go until she had told me every story. It, it was an incredible gift. And so I saw her transformed from the brink of death to having a reason to live. And then I saw her shift over a longer period of time into a state of acceptance, knowing that more of her would survive. Um, and so that was a great gift that has certainly. Now, this was before I was ordained as a minister. It was before I was called to work as a reverend per se. This was just a family member that I was blessed with the opportunity to be there for. Um, but those experiences have definitely colored my service ever since. Some of the most profound transitions, I think, that it's an honor to be able to be present for, but is oft also work that a lot of folks shy away from, is working with the dying.
How do you feel that that has transformed your own practices within the way that you work with others?
Uh, well, I'll be honest. Um, at times, it makes me a little bit less patient. I can be a little bit more direct. because my priorities have been sort of shaken into crystal clear focus. Folks
Mhm.
who are on their deathbed know what they want to be doing, what they wish they still had the ability to do, what they wish they had done with the final moments that they had the ability to do whatever that was. And they are endlessly frustrated with us young folks who aren't doing it. And so sometimes I carry that energy with me into if folks are asking me for advice in their day-to-day life. Uh, Sometimes that advice will be certainly not in line with what a therapist would advise you to do, which might be a bit more grounded. I'm much more likely to say, yeah, you should leave that guy. He sounds like he's not good enough for you. Maybe you should pack up everything and move to a new town. That sounds like it might be a great fresh start. Um, uh, the biggest
Um, Go ahead.
regret, oh yeah, I was gonna say the biggest regrets that people tend to have, in my experience, is wishing that they had tried something, taken a big swing, even if they had fallen on their face and had to come back, with their tail between their legs. So what? You come back with a couple of good stories to tell at the bar. Uh, that could be worse. Could be worse.
So you describe your instincts as irrepressible and say they eventually blazed a trail to um, your path. What were those instincts and how did you actually learn to trust them?
Mm, great question. I am a natural energy worker. Specifically, it's in my nature to draw energy in and process it before giving a filtered version of it back. It's not uncommon for folks to identify as vampires who have the energy traits that I have. I, for example, do identify as a vampire. um, but essentially, what that means is that I have this, for me, is that I have this natural relationship with the energy around me that feels compelled to and will subconsciously connect with and draw things in. Now I'll give it back. I'll give some parts of it back, after I've processed it. But I just naturally have these little tendrils that interact with and become a part of the larger environment that I'm in, which includes other people. Uh, Now, for some folks can develop those skills. I had to develop the ability to stop doing it. I didn't realize it was something that was automatically happening, or more accurately, I guess I didn't realize it was something that everyone wasn't automatically doing. It's it because again, it was an absolutely natural thing for me to be doing. It was it was like holding my breath to not be doing it. It was painful after a bit. Um, Now, I did manage to suppress connecting with other people when circumstances forced me to live in a pretty isolated area. Um, my nearest neighbors were several miles away, and so I didn't have very much human interaction whatsoever. So I was not instinctually or otherwise connecting with anyone. So it seemed like whew, I've got it under control. I am not capable of accidentally forging these connections or um, any repercussions related to that. But it turns out I just popped right out of my body. When I finally passed out, I had insomnia at the time as well. I was a real mess. All of my self-regulation really does rely on having a regular flow of energy. I have to have that give and take with folks on a regular basis in one capacity or another, or I'd really just fall apart. So that was the state I was in. I finally pass out after a couple of days of not being able to sleep at all, and I pop right out of my body uh, and have an incredibly vivid dream, it seemed at the time. Um, Now, that dream included a pretty traditional, archetypical version of a vampire feeding. You know, I lure in uh, some lovely, consenting person who's eager to engage in the communion, if you will. And I wake up just feeling this is what made me think of it as something other than a dream. I think of it as a dream with a capital D, is how I always write it down. But what made it different for me than just a really good dream was that I woke up completely transformed. Now, you've met me, and I think maybe a few folks in the audience may have met me, so this may surprise you, but I used to be really mean. I was really angry all the time. I'm quite charming these days, but that's
Mm.
because I am well fed. I take care of myself. But during a period of time when I had needs that I didn't realize that I had, I was starving myself and I was just downright rotten some of the time. But I woke up uh, completely transformed. One of the hallmarks of my being very well fed is that I feel deeply empathetic, feel connected. One of the walls that I put up to protect myself reactively when I'm feeling really overwhelmed sort of numbs me to everything. So when I feel secure enough to let that down, it's like a flood wall comes down, and suddenly I'm connected to all of this stuff. Um, and I'm often, a tearful, emotional mess, but it's good, happy tears. I'm quick to inform folks when that happens. But
When
yeah,
you, oh, continue.
I was just going to say that I credit as mm, a major milestone in my awakening process, and it informs a big part of my work as a nighttime chaplain. I know the importance of having someone explain some of these long invisible needs and how to direct them into some sources of information and some practices they can do to not starve themselves to the brink of exhaustion and rely on the good fortune of uh, dream walking your way into satisfaction. Not all of us seem inclined to have that option. Um, so it's important for us to have a sense of community and to notice each other and offer support when we can. But that's can be really hard.
Is that what brought you to the House of the Dreaming?
That played a major role. I would say that played a huge role in my coming to the online vampire community. And then just a couple years into my familiarity with the online community, Madam X spotted me in a discussion forum on Facebook. Um, and we started chatting. and it felt very similar to that dream, if that makes sense. It felt like this feels magical, almost like it can't be true. So I didn't rely on that feeling itself right away. I ended up traveling on a Greyhound up to see her in person. She welcomed me into her beautiful home, but that there was no question in my mind at that moment, and I don't really know how to explain it other than I recognized her as family, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was still struggling to recognize myself as worthy of uh, love or really respecting my own sense of identity. I was still constantly questioning and doubting so much, but I knew that this connection was real, even if I didn't know exactly what it was. Um, and I leaned into that. Met several other folks through the House of the Dreaming, the other members of the house, and there was this feeling. It was very much like the first verifiable out of body experience, I guess, in that this was something that was intangible, not just some banal, like, oh, we're second cousins or something, but the undeniable spiritual familial connection that was deeply profound for me. Um, so yes, it's definitely played a role. And the fact that I had that a big part of my process of embracing and coming to terms with my own identity took place in dreams did really facilitate that. Like it felt very familiar. Again, finding profundity and direction in dreams and what we choose to make of them. Just, it really resonated deeply.
Mhm. What made you first realize that you were a vampire?
That's a good question. It's a lot like what made me first realize that I wasn't straight, which was that everyone around me realized it and let me know before I did. I was told my whole life from kindergarten on that I was very weird. And over time, what weird, the label that was used to summarize weird would shift, but it oscillated between gay, uh, some synonym for gay, and vampire, because I was very pale, very old-fashioned, um, a little bit goth, as much as my parents would let me get away with. Uh, and so it was a label that was thrust upon me for a while. And then when I was swinging like a pendulum away from the restrictive conservative Christianity that I was brought up in and exploring left hand path traditions, uh, reclaiming the identity of the vampire as a legitimate spiritual path made sense to me. Um, my parents had said that anything that wasn't their specific take on Christianity was essentially Satanism. So I did uh, read quite a bit about Satanism and was deeply empowered and liberated by embracing that archetype for a while. It turns out that it wasn't quite exactly the right fit for me. I'm not a Satanist per se, though I'm deeply grateful for the work that they do with um, facilitating folks who need to work through that archetype and that sort of work, it's incredibly valuable, whether that's where you want to put down roots or whether you keep traveling through. Um, uh, so then that was just a hop, skip, and a jump away from really owning the vampire label, because when I was coming into the left-hand path stuff on the internet, there was a lot of cross promotion between the Church of Satan and the Temple of the Vampire. So I was at least aware that there were groups of people who found spiritual empowerment in claiming the label of vampire. Um, I didn't really get very involved with the TOV until a bit later, but I stored away that valuable seed that grew later, that there were vampires out there in the wild.
Awesome. And when you were in that space of being on your own and not having human connection, how did you find yourself outside of the astral? Were you able to feed like within the space that you were in, within the elements that were around you, or was it purely on the astral at that point?
Well, great question. I guess um, if I wanted to be very precise, I would say it was in the etheric plane, the nearest levels of the astral plane, which is very, very similar to the mundane world that we see around us. I was able to, well, while I slept, because I was exhausted, and so my body wasn't moving at all, but I was still restless, desperate to hunt, I guess, to hunt down what I was starving for. Thankfully, what I was starving for did not require me to physically move, and so I woke up and rolled out of bed without realizing at first that I had left my body behind. So it's just an etheric uh, body, very similar to my own, except that I noticed that it was, well, it wasn't exhausted. It wasn't nearly as achy and sore. It could move the way that my body moves in dreams, which is to say, if I concentrated real hard, I could levitate a couple of feet off the ground, um, which is one of the usual ways that I will, it's a reality check that I use regularly to see if I'm dreaming, so I can trigger a lucid dream if I am. If I am able to levitate, I'm pretty sure that it's a dream, and so I then trigger lucidity. Um, but in this case, so in this case, I was again assuming it was a dream, because I am able to do that in this at this stage in the story. I can levitate about 1.5 feet, um, even though the dream seems awfully dull because I'm just in my bedroom at the time. But I just sort of, uh, I remember thinking, gosh, I'll bet it's a beautiful night outside. And then bam, I'm outside. Um, and I was like, wow, that was awfully efficient. I didn't even have to, lock the door behind me. So I thought,
Mhm.
wow, I sure would be nice if I could travel like this all the time. Then I would travel and then I thought of other places and I was there. And so I was like, wow, this is the best lucid dream I've ever had. Usually there's a little bit of lag in the dreamscape taking shape. But I was just almost instantaneously traveling to um, other places where where there were people, the nearest neighbors, or I was awfully keen at this time in my life. I was in my early 20s, to go to the nearest a discotheque, dance party of some kind. I don't know what the kids call them these days. I apologize. I am quite old. Um, So, but there I was at so now this didn't seem especially odd at the time because in my mind I'm just lucid dreaming, so I'm conjuring up whatever it is that I'm wanting to be there. Makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then I was thinking, I always did really like vampire movies, and that one scene, it was almost hypersexual and romantic when the time just stops and there's this contact, and this one person, it's just their destiny to commune with this ancient being, and you can see, this beautiful recognition. And so I was like, man, wouldn't that be wild? And then bam, there it is, just like any other part of the dream so far. I have
Mm-hmm.
connected with someone in this crowd. And, I'm not one to kiss and tell. Suffice to say, I woke up shortly thereafter feeling um, deeply fulfilled. Um, and everything about my life changed right after that. That I was, for context, the reason that I was cut off from connection with anyone is that I was staying off the grid for a good long while. I was trying to avoid discovery from a cult that I had belonged to for some time beforehand, and they had a reputation for checking the records of all sorts of things. So I needed to keep a very low profile. So I was doing that. I had a moment of insight and inspiration and overcoming of personal fear and hesitation. Immediately after this dream, it occurred to me that it was an opportunity to go and to. No one wanted to go and be the one to watch my grandmother die. It was not an enviable task, but it occurred to me that it was an opportunity. I just felt like, hey, this is an inevitable moment. The time will come when I will definitely want someone to at least want to come and visit me. I don't want people to be drawing straws and hoping against hope that they don't have to talk to me one last time. Like that would make me feel kind of crappy right at the end there. I would much rather a happy face genuinely bring the energy of respect and honor and curiosity uh, to that to that relationship. And it kept her alive for a couple years, and it gave me a place to live where I was valued and had purpose and was still completely off the grid for 2 years. It was an incredible gift in so many ways. But I wasn't inclined to see it as one until I had a complete transformation of perspective that came from uh, dream walking and feeding while dream walking during this period of desperation and isolation.
If you were to describe what feeding feels like in a few simple syllables, what does it feel like for you energetically? Like, what is it? What are some maybe terms that could be used to express what it can feel like?
Mm, Great question. Oh, gosh. Uh, See, I'm tempted to compare it to certain sensations, but I've learned over time that I experience those sensations during certain encounters because I am feeding when I do those things. I used to think,
Mhm.
oh, feeding, it feels just like that moment during sex, you know, when you feel deeply connected to the person and time stops and you just feel like you can almost uh, share a thought with them. Well, it turns out that's not what sex feels like for everybody all the time. That
So true.
uh, um, that is a form of deep communion.
Mm.
Um, now, I guess let's see. What I would say feeding feels like, if I had to compare it to something for someone who um, isn't sure if it's something they've ever done, or is pretty sure that it's not something they've ever done, but they're curious what they could compare it to. Um, if you've ever really struggled to understand something in school, like there's the like you've just got to figure out algebra or you aren't going to make it, you aren't going to graduate, you've got to figure this out, and it's just eluding you until suddenly there's this tutor that just makes it click, and suddenly everything falls into place and everything opens up. The moment of epiphany, where there's this inner flooding of connection that happens really fast, and it feels like uh, even though technically only one, you know, thing has fallen into place, the domino effect has led to all of this meaning being connected at the same time. That's what it feels like to me to tap into and connect to someone that is um, an enthusiastically consenting partner in that communion. That's the goal for me. The feeling is a, a lot like an epiphany.
What do you find are some of the common misconceptions about vampires?
Um, that we're all allergic to the sun. Um, that is not universally true. In fact, the statistics on it don't even make it seem like it's all that much more true than anyone else. I think it's more true amongst goths to be a little bit allergic to the sun. And there are more goths that are night kinds, but it might have more to do with um, the general lifestyle that we lead, the parties that we, the reasons for staying up when we feel alive is at nighttime. So we're a little bit more sensitive to the sun that we are less likely to engage with. But that's a pretty a lot of people really do believe that we are going to just like burst into flames if we step out at midday. Just sunscreen. I do highly recommend sunscreen, but I do to everybody
Sunscreen is
vampire
good.
stuff. Yes. Um, some other misconceptions that we are duplicitous or very secretive. Um, Now, I think that there is uh, that's not entirely. I can understand where that association comes from, because I think that there is a period early on in a lot of folks during their early stages of coming to terms with this facet of their identity, where they can feel very unsafe sharing with anyone. They don't know whom to trust. A lot of folks will assume that what they're experiencing is hallucination, or that it makes them dangerous. And so they feel very isolated, and some of us can become a bit secretive at early stages until we develop, hopefully, the skills of discernment to recognize who will understand, or also the skills of communication to help us translate our experience in ways that our specific audience can better understand. In some cases, you know, like I wouldn't describe myself as a vampire specifically to my therapist. I might say that I am neurodivergent in a way that causes me to specifically engage with social situations and other people in very specific ways. My neurostate tends to process situations that interpret an environment as uh, a field of energy and then people inside of it instead of prioritizing people and the energy or the vibes of the room as subordinate to the people, which I'm told is not uh, unique to vampires. It's a set of things that a therapist can understand and jot down in his notes without feeling a knee-jerk reaction necessarily to institutionalize you. You can tell him, that therapist, that you understand and have learned to interpret this particular paradigm for information processing, and that it actually can work to your benefit in certain situations.
Hmm. On on a personal level, when it comes to helping other night kind understand themselves a little deeper, does that in some forms also bring you nourishment?
That is a great question. Yes, I suppose, but in a very different way. It brings
Hmm.
me a form of fulfillment. It's what I feel, it's the work that I feel called to. It's my vocation. Um, and I believe that it is an important investment um, into the future. My spiritual practice, um, without getting into too much detail for this, we might save the details for another episode. But long story short, I don't believe that death is the end of the story. Shocker, I know. Um, but with that in mind, it's really important to me. It's important to my spiritual practice to do what I can to safeguard the next generation of practitioners. I want um, for the value that I have found in this tradition to be given to others who will benefit from it. I believe that I will benefit from their holding it even beyond my passage beyond the veil, my death. Um,
On a metaphysical level, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. On a metaphysical level, within your practices, how has that intertwined within the work that you do as far as helping others with growth?
mm. Well, I have, out of necessity, I have had to develop a pretty rigorous uh, routine of maintaining spiritual hygiene. I can't go a full lunar cycle without taking a lot of accumulated stuff and putting it somewhere. Accumulating a month or more's stuff without unburdening myself um, is just too much. It becomes dangerous because then I don't have the energy to do what I need to do to unburden myself, and it becomes a vicious cycle that makes it harder and harder for me to get out from under. Um, so I do know what some folks don't need to undergo that sort of strict regimen every single month. I really, and I probably don't need to every single month, but I don't want to not do it on the month that happens to be a bad month, and then whoops, I've doomed myself. I feel much more grounded if I keep up with that practice. Um, and so, folks who aren't used to needing uh, a practice for putting the voices of the dead somewhere other than echoing in their own mind. If you need to honor the energy of a haunting without being haunted by it indefinitely, I can help you. I know what that has sort of been my default most of my life. It took me a long time to find something that worked for me, but I've tried so much stuff that didn't work for me along the way that I'll bet together we can find something that will work for you too. Uh, so that's sort of, yeah, that would be how my practice has informed my calling to help others, is that it took me a really, really long time, a lot of trial and error to find something that actually worked for me that was healthy. I tried self-medicating and numbing myself with a lot of bad choices that didn't really work and did cause a lot of other problems, which I guess were distractions from the core problem, but it's not what I recommend. Um, Eventually, just having a routine of regularly communing with um, the spirits of the dead, the ancient forces that have seen fit to um, be present. And I like to invite the wisdom of what's around. And more often than not, all I'm given is a chance to unburden myself of what's not really serving me anymore. And that's a huge blessing. But once in a blue moon, something comes back as a gift. Um, those profound moments are arguably the crux of my practice. But I digress. Having worked on developing this regimen for letting go of things and picking new things back up in a regular cycle has helped me to develop a good number of skills at guiding others through that process too. Now, grief can be really, really difficult to let go of. Sometimes the grief feels like the only thing we have left to hold on to. Um, it can be really helpful to have uh, someone someone there to point out other things, other places to put it.
So if people wanted to reach out to you and they had more questions about what you've shared, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They should check out the Reverend Hesperus Facebook profile, um, where they can message me. I'm also on Instagram. Let's see, the, my email, I believe, is reverendhesperus at protonmail.com. No dashes or anything. Um, and do come check out my website. Once a month under the new moon, I post a guided meditation and an original piece of poetry that um, reflects on some of the wisdom that I think is of particular meaning to Nightkind audience, to my Nightkind audience. That website, I believe, will be up in the description, but I'll read it for y'all. It's just Reverend Hesperus, but there's a dash between Reverend and Hesperus, .ghost.io.
Um, Well, Gwen, are you around still, my dear? See if she pops up.
Oh, welcome back.
So we have a bit of an announcement for all of our guests that are watching. And first off, thank you so much, Reverend Hesperus, for sharing
Yes.
Thank you
uh,
so much for
your
having me.
experience, and we appreciate you. Many of you know that Chris and I are normally every single week. Chris is taking a sabbatical, and I have asked Reverend Hesperus to go ahead and join me as one of my co hosts alongside. Also, Kenneth Drake will be coming in once a month to be also co hosting with us. So, we'd really like to give you a big welcome to our network, and
Yes. Welcome.
so excited.
Can you
It's
hear
an
me?
honor to be here. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, welcome. And we will be putting you on the ad. We just had to get the okay to do it. So, excuse me, guys. Um, as of next week, you'll be the co host for I don't know how many episodes, but at least some. So, yay.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh,
All right.
and blessed belated solstice for everyone. I just remembered.
Oh, thank you. Well, um, now that we've made that announcement, and for those of you that love Christopher Brown, which we love him, he is part of our group.
Yes.
He also has a YouTube show on mediumship. And unfortunately, I don't have the link to that right now, but I do want to show Christopher support as he's putting videos up with that, so that it will be coming up in the near future, to where we can share what he has, some of the things that he has going on as well. And with that being said, next week we will have a surprise special guest that has not been vocalized as of yet, but
Nope.
it's coming. It's coming. And yeah, that's, we're gonna go ahead and let Gwen take it from here.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you have any appearances or events coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Oh goodness. We're
I know
gonna go
you
down that
do. I know.
list.
That's why I was trying to like shameless plug, honey. Shameless plug.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for reminding me. So Connecticut Paracon is coming up, and I am so very excited to be going to that event and having a booth and table. And I'm grateful for all that um, they have been doing to put everything together. Many of you have been waiting for my first book, and it is supposed to be published and ready by that first event.
Good.
We'll see. We'll
Well,
see. We'll see. It's finished. It's completed. It's a matter of getting things formatted and enough books in time for
right.
the event. But it is going to be a lot of fun. Please come and join us. That is July.
11th.
Thank you. July 11th. So please join us.
I
There are
hope
going to
to be
be.
there. I do. I hope, but I do not know for sure. So that's a maybe. Um, but please come see Raven, Thomas, Stacia. My goodness, there's so many. Help me, Stacia.
Uh,
Not Stacia. Help. I'm trying to think down the list. There's
okay.
so many.
So Samaya is going to be there.
Samaya. Yeah. Yep.
Samaya. Oh my gosh, she's practically like family to me, and I'm saying her name incorrectly.
Well, I tell you what, I've got one better. Hold on. I don't usually do this during your show, but I do have a short video. It's probably not the last one, but it's about 10 seconds. So let's do this. Just make it easier. This is the last short one I have. So here we go.
Okay, I'll do that.
There's that.
Those are some of the ones that are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of authors also that are present, and I'm excited to see what books and things that they bring. There's going to be some fun investigation stuff. So if you're all in the area of Connecticut, come hang out with us. Danny and Lauren, who are also, practically, I consider them to be like close family. They will be there. The Radicals. If you have not seen their stuff, you are missing out. They will be bringing some really cool stuff
They do. And they
from
bring
their
it in a
museum.
coffin. Yeah.
Yeah, and they bring. Are they bringing the coffin this time?
They usually have all the Ouija boards. Now, last year, they gave me one from the network. Do you remember that? And everybody that was in the network at the time signed it. I have that, and it's big enough where I can't take it on the plane in my luggage. So I haven't got everybody to finish signing it. But yeah, I've got one, and it's made of coffin wood. But yes, they bring a lot of their stuff in a coffin, and
they have
it
a
makes
hearse
it unique.
too.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
a really cool hearse, which
they do.
which is fun. And so yeah, like there will be tons of speakers as well. I believe there are different people that will be talking at different times.
Yes,
For those of you that know the legendary Johnny Zaffis, I believe he will be there as well. Hopefully I am correct about that.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's going to be tons of fun. Come hang out with us. Come find Gwen and I, because we'll probably be running around a lot
Together.
together. Yeah,
If I get up there,
together.
and I'm trying. Everybody knows I had shoulder surgery, and it's been giving me problems. And I don't know, but I am trying. If I get better, a lot better by then, I am going to definitely pop up at least for the day, or hopefully 2 days at least. But yes, I want to come. Also, I know Raven's going to Maine later this year, and
Yes,
I
so
know. Yep.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know you got some other things that are more, I guess, local-ish to you. Couple.
Ish.
Yeah.
I will be at the Maine Paranormal and Horror Con.
Yep.
I'm super excited to be doing having my own booth there and readings, and we will have stuff up for the show up there. Also, Christopher Brown is leading a seance for that event, and I am so excited for him. I
Nice.
really, really am. I think that's going to be amazing. There is going to be some really kick-ass workshops that they're going to be doing at the Maine Horror Paranormal Con. Come if you can. And so it's going to be wild, but it's a huge event. And you will see a raven running around like crazy, integrating and doing different things. But come say hi. I believe Larry Eisler, please, gosh, he's gonna hate me for not saying his last name correctly. No, he's not
That's
gonna hate
right,
me, but
Eisler. I had to ask it. Yes, I
Eisler,
think he's
okay,
coming.
yeah.
I think. Now, I may not be right about that, but you guys, this summer,
I think so.
there is so much to do. There are so many paracons. I'm going to be at a bunch. I'm just going to say, because I don't want to go down the list. It's not my show. But Raven's going to be at things. I'm going to be at things. And if you want Raven, get a reading during the week, during the weekends. She does them all the time.
Yeah.
And,
So for these specific events, I'm going to be very selective in what kinds of offerings I'm doing this time around. So there will be mediumship, there will be tarot, there will be past life readings, but I will not be doing regressions in public settings, just because it can get really intense and really deep.
right.
And we want to make sure that there is a safe, sacred space for that kind of thing because there's a lot that can come up with that sometimes.
Yes.
Also, let's see, what else do I have going on? Christopher and I and Kenneth will be at Wilson Castle in Vermont. I believe it's in September, September 4th. So we're working out a lot of the details for that. We'll get you all more info. There will be a gallery included, there will be food, and there will be a raven running around talking to ghosties. So,
Nice.
and a Chris like talking to ghosties, and so it's going to be tons of fun. And then with Kenneth Drake coming, you're going to have three mediums running an entire fun line of haunted fun. So it'll be great. And then um, Chris and I also have a gallery that's in September, and I'll have to post all these dates. That is in Maine, which is going to be fun at Macabre Soul. Let's see what else. Those are some of them. Oh, Utah. I cannot forget Utah. People would be mad at me if I forget Utah.
Don't forget your time.
So, well, maybe not mad, but like, hey, you forgot. So Salt Lake City Paracon. I have been asked to come out and speak at that event. And I am going to have a booth. So we will be doing all those fun things. Also, is it October 10th? It's in Meriden. Mm, I have to remember the exact dates, but there are events that I am doing with Wardruna. So
Mhm.
there's quite a few events that I'm going to be doing with them. That was, I think
That's it for
that's
now.
good
Just
for
look on her
now.
website. There you go.
Yeah.
Look on her
Uh,
page. She'll put up a schedule. How about that?
yeah. Between paranormal, metaphysical, and vampire balls, you will be see me. Well, you be see. I'm stumbling over my words. You will see me bouncing around everywhere. So,
Yeah.
I won't be that hard to find because I will make myself visible. Um, with that being said, Gwen, talk about some of your events because you have events coming up.
Well, let's see. If I get to come to Connecticut, that'll be July 11th. If I don't, just come anyway and miss me because I want to be there. So, and we have people from the network coming, so that's good. But I will be at, you ready? Let's
Mm-hmm.
go down the list. I will be at Gettysburg. I will be at New Orleans. I'll be at Enterprise, Alabama. I will be at MassCon. I'm coming to Maine, hopefully to Connecticut. And then there's a few more things that I am looking into doing that I have not confirmed yet. So that's my little short list. So if you get to
And then
any
to see a
of those,
raven.
say it again.
And then to see a raven because I miss you, damn it.
I know, and you know what? We are going to get together, and when we can figure out how to get together, we're going to do an event. But that will have to come when I can travel a little
Oh, I
better.
have some delicious plans I should talk to you about. That
Oh
would be
yeah,
so much fun to put together.
we what little time we get to spend together is always at a Paracon, and for you guys that don't travel to them and like appear at them, you get to see your people, but then everybody has to rush home, and yeah, so we have plans that my unexpected surgery kind of threw a wrench in it because I was going to be up there for a couple of weeks, but
Mm.
we're going to work it out. And maybe when I come to Maine or something else, MassCon or something, because you're going to be at
Oh,
MassCon or maybe.
yeah, I am. I did forget to mention that I will be at MassCon. I have a booth, and my books will definitely be ready by
Yes, they'll
then if they're
be
not
ready.
ready before then.
Well, if you want a
Oh,
book, I know I want a copy signed, of course, but if you want a book of Raven, start looking. I know Amazon will have them soon, and Raven will have them soon. And if you want
hmm.
an autograph, I guarantee if you get in touch with her, she'll find a way to get you one.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. So, but I think we've held our guest or our guest
Oh.
host up forever. We're chattering. So, would you like to say anything to everybody and tell us some things that you have coming up?
Oh gosh.
Put
I
you on the
did think
spot.
of a pun that's too good not to use. It sounds like you have three mediums at that event coming up. That sounds like an extra large good time.
Mm-hmm.
Three mediums. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
that was all I had to say. And
Okay.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Oh,
you so
yep.
much,
And Tempest,
NPR.
too.
Go
I
ahead.
think you guys know Tempest is saying, watching for those books and need an autograph. Okay.
Oh, I love Tempest. She's great.
All
Um,
right.
all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close things out, and I'll see you two in a minute.
Yep. Yep.
All
All right.
right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our show this evening. It has been enlightening and fun, and I'm looking forward to spending next week with you, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, with my new co-host, Reverend Hespers, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye, my lovelies.